I'm sorry. If there was something that I
Hey,
could
you know what? You ain't got to do nothing, Uncle Phil. Hey, ain't like I'm still 5 years old, Ain't like I'm gonna be sitting up every night asking my mom, when's Daddy coming home, Who needs him? Hey, he wasn't there to teach me how to shoot my first basket, but I learned, didn't I? Hey, I got pretty damn good at it too, didn't I, Uncle Phil?
You did.
Got through my first day without him, right? I learned how to drive. I learned how to shave. I learned how to fight without him. I had 14 great birthdays without him. He never even sent me a damn card. The hell with him! I ain't need him then, and I don't need him now.
Well,
Now, you know what, Uncle Phil? I'm gonna get through college without him. I'm gonna get a great job without him. I'm gonna marry me a beautiful honey, and I'm gonna have me a whole bunch of kids. I'm gonna be a better father than he ever was. And I sure as hell don't need him for that, because ain't a damn thing he could ever teach me about how to love my kids. How come he don't want me, man?
When tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not there to see, if the sun should rise and find your eyes all filled with tears for me, I wish so much you wouldn't cry the way you did today, while thinking of the many things we didn't get to say. I know how much you love me, as much as I love you, and each time that you think of me, I know you'll miss me too.
Come up a little closer here. Okay. This is special to me.
I know.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamed I held you in my arms. But when I woke, dear, I was mistaken. So I hung my head and cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Now I need a tissue. I know. Tom needs a tissue.
Now, the title of it is Bo. That's the name of the dog. He never came to me when I would call unless I had a tennis ball, or he felt like it. But mostly he didn't come at all. When he was young, he never learned to heel or sit or stay. He did things his way. Discipline was not his bag, but when you were with him, things sure didn't drag. He'd dig up a rose bush just to spite me, and when I'd grab him, he'd turn and bite me. He bit lots of folks from day to day. The delivery boy was his favorite prey. The gas man wouldn't read our meter. He said we owned a real man-eater. He set the house on fire, but the story's long to tell. Suffice to say that he survived and the house survived as well. And on evening walks, and Gloria took him, he was always first out the door. The old one and I brought up the rear because our bones were sore. And he'd charge up the street with Mom hanging on. What a beautiful pair they were. And if it was still light and the tourists were out, they created a bit of a stir. But every once in a while, he'd stop in his tracks and with a frown on his face, look around. It was just to make sure that the old one was there to follow him where he was bound. We're early to bedders in our house. I guess I'm the first to retire. And as I'd leave the room, he'd look at me and get up from his place by the fire. He knew where the tennis balls were upstairs, and I'd give him one for a while, and he'd push it under the bed with his nose, and I'd dig it out with a smile. But before very long, he'd tire of the ball, and he'd be asleep in his corner in no time at all. And there were nights when I'd feel him climb upon our bed and lie between us, and I'd pat his head. And there were nights when I'd feel this stare, and I'd wake up and he'd be sitting there, and I'd reach out to stroke his hair, and sometimes I'd feel him sigh, and I think I know the reason why. He'd wake up at night and he would have this fear of the dark, of life, of lots of things, and he'd be glad to have me near. And now he's dead. And there are nights when I think I feel him climb upon our bed and lie between us, and I pat his head. And there are nights when I think I feel that stare, and I reach out my hand to stroke his hair, and he's not there. Oh, how I wish that wasn't so. I'll always love a dog named Bo.
Dude, I started a college fund for your daughter, man. Dog, swear to God. It's already got money in it. Every week, I try to put $10, $15 in it. You know. Now, I'm going to be real as hell with you, dog. It would have had more money in it, but I fucked around and bought a PS3 and an Xbox. Come on, man. You know I got to play my video games, man. Don't be like that, man. You know, brother had to get, you know. I mean, sometimes I get bored. I need video games and shit, but I promise you, by the time she goes to college, man, she going to be able to buy the campus, man. I promise you that shit, man. But when I think about, like, my homie being gone, boy, I be getting choked up, dog. I be getting too choked up. I ain't mean to get choked up like that, dog. You know that. I don't know why I'm even feeling the way I'm feeling, man. I should be happy today, you know. Hey, damn, man, I can't front, dog. I miss you like a motherfucker, man. I be riding out sometimes by myself, like, damn, I be looking in my rear view to see if you behind me in your Chevy, man. Damn, boy. I be fucking up, man. It's just, man, homie. I remember back in the day, dog, I used to wake up in the morning. You know what I'm saying? I used to call your cell phone like, oh, let me talk to my nigga and shit. And that motherfucker would just ring on me. It would just ring. Wouldn't be no voicemail or nothing. And cause I couldn't accept that you was gone, you know? I couldn't accept that shit. You know, my mama tell me, son, you need to accept it, you know, he gone and shit. I'll be like, fuck that shit, man. It's my nigga, he ain't gone, man. Even the day of your funeral, I swear to God, nigga, like I woke up that morning, I was like, I know he gonna call me. I know my homie gonna call me. I know he gonna say, hey, what up, man? What's going on, man? You know, but shit, you probably in a better place than I'm at anyway, you know. Whew. I'm sorry, homie. I know you like, God damn, man, stop crying like a little bitch.
Well, you're going back to 1937. I met my calf. She was lovely. One of the guys said to me, hey, she fancies you. And I said, well, I certainly fancy her. Unfortunately, in 1939, the war separated us. But whilst I was over there, I thought I need to write to her and ask her to marry me. Family life in those days was a happy life. I can remember one occasion we were in bed, cuddling as one does, and she said, oh, aren't your legs hairy? And I said, well, no, I've still got my socks on. One evening, she turned round and she looked at me and she said, where's Bob? and I'm Bob, and the bottom dropped out of my world then. The doctor said she's in the early days of Alzheimer's disease. As she got worse, it became more difficult to nurse her, but she stayed here until the end. And eventually, she passed away at 1 o'clock in the morning by my side. I couldn't believe it. She'd gone. It was impossible to say goodbye or I love you anymore.